Athlon Sports dropped their All-American preseason teams list, and we have 5 Clemson Tigers that made the cut. Where do these guys rank? How many first teamers, second teamers, third teamers, and possibly fourth teamers do we have? And do I agree with where these guys are placed? I'll discuss all of that next on the Locked On Clemson podcast.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Locked On family? Welcome back to the Locked On Clemson podcast, your daily podcast covering your Clemson Tigers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson, always on the ones and twos. You can find me on Twitter at DP_NFL. I'm a national scout with the Draft Network, as well as co-host of the Locked On NFL Draft podcast. And guys, I have a fun show to talk to you about. We have preseason All-American kind of votings, rankings by Athlon Sports, and we have 5 Clemson Tigers. We're going to talk about where they're ranked and how I really feel about their rankings in terms of what teams they landed on, first team, second team, third team, or even fourth team. So we're going to get into that. But today's episode is brought to you by Birddogs. Go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege. And when you enter the promo code Locked On College, they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti style tumbler with every single order. So first team, who made the first team? How many first teamers do we have? We have one. We have a first teamer, but we only have one. So that's kind of, it's the good news. We have one, but the bad news is we only have one. So in terms of for Athlon's preseason All-American team rankings, Jeremiah Trotter, linebacker, was the only first team preseason All-American to make the list for Athlon. And I think it's rightfully so that he made the list. If anybody's going to be on it, I really love what I've seen from him on the field. This young man, I'm gonna tell you guys something, because I'm a draft analyst as well and a scout. One thing that comes to mind, or a name that comes to mind in terms of who he reminds me of, but just a more athletic version, is Nakobe Dean. A little bit, if you remember the Georgia Bulldogs from 2 years ago, Nakobe Dean was drafted in the 2022 NFL draft. So last year, I believe he's a third-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. And when you watched him play down in Athens at Georgia, you saw a guy that played with a crazy motor. He was a leader, instinctive, high football character at IQ, and he played with his hair on fire. That motor was unreal. Physical, be able to drop off in coverage, attack the line of scrimmage. You'll see him cross dog, blitzing in the A gaps and everything. And when I look at Jeremiah Trotter, he can do all of those same things. And like I said, I believe he's a much better athlete. And according to the stats for ESPN, in 2022, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. logged 89 total tackles, 6.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 2 interceptions, a touchdown, and 5 passes defended. And I think that's what's so key to me, is that he's a do-it-all type of guy, where it's like, okay, attack downhill and identify run versus pass and locate the football. I need guys who are hunters. You know what I mean? Guys that can find the football, get to the football, and make the play. You know what I mean? There's a term that we use in terms of scouting linebackers. It's called slow until you know. And I don't want a guy being too aggressive where he's just shooting gaps and not allowing the plays to develop and find and locate the football, but also not being too slow in terms of where it looks like you're a slow processor, but being right in the middle, slow until you know. Read the play, locate the football, know if it's pass versus run, and get into your spot. If it's pass and you guys zone, drop off and get there. If you're blitzing, get there. You know what I mean? If it's the run game, look, if it's an outside run, scrape over the top and get there, right? Close the door. Close that door on the running back. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. does every bit of that. I love his game. Now, I know some people are going to say about him, guys, and it's just the nature of the beast, is he's listed at 6 foot 230. Similar to a Nakobe Dean, where, okay, he's not he's 6 foot 230. Sorry. So he's not 6'2", 6'3". And sometimes schools, the school's listing of height and weight doesn't always match. So maybe he is 5'11". I don't know. But if he is 6 foot, he's still gonna get knocked for not. He's still gonna get knocked for not being 6'2", 6'3", and 230 isn't small, but it's not 245. So, he can get knocked for that. But I don't see a guy that plays like he's soft. I don't see a linebacker that plays with a more finesse, timid demeanor. No, he will get down dirty. He will get into the mix and make plays, and I appreciate that about his game. Now, the thing about it is, again, you worry about his size or height or whatever, but it shows up all over the field that he knows how to use his frame to make plays, whether it's tackling, solo tackles in open field, one-on-one, he's a secure tackler, or being an assist guy, coming in and helping bring down that ball carrier or the pass catcher to limit yards after the catch. He does those things for the team as well. And what I really love, again, dropping off in the coverage, just impacting the game in multiple facets. That's what you want in an All-American, especially in the first teamer. How impactful can you be? Jeremiah Trotter is extremely impactful, and I absolutely love his game. Now, guys, he's not the only one on the list. I said we have 5. We got 4 more to go. So I promise you don't want to stay tuned and stick with me, because coming up next, I'm going to talk about who made the second team. So stay tuned. Finding clothes, especially pants and shorts that fit, comfortable, and versatile, that's very difficult. It's not easy nowadays to find kind of all-in-ones, right? But I can tell you something that can help you, and that's Birddogs, guys. They make you look better. You feel great wearing them. The fabric, because I have my own set, what I really love about them, the fabric is stretchy. So it makes your legs feel great, and they're comfortable. And so much so, they're more comfortable than majority of my other shorts and pants. And they give me the freedom to wear one style of shorts or pants wherever I kind of want to go, right? If I want to go golfing, if I have a business meeting at the office, or a date with my wife, or just hanging out with some of our best friends, I can throw on a pair of Birddogs and feel okay. So guys, what I'm going to tell you is go to birddogs.com/LockedOnCollege. And when you enter the promo code LockedOnCollege, they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti style tumbler with every single order. Second team, guys. Let's get into it. The second team. And I'm going to kick it off with the star running back. But he's not listed as a running back on this list. He's listed as an all-purpose back. And that's Will Shipley. He made the second team. And you talk about one of the better running backs in all of college football. Just from his freshman year on, think about what he did as a freshman: 149 carries, almost 740 yards, and 11 rushing touchdowns, but, as well as 16 receptions and 116 yards, through the air. But 2022, 210 carries, over almost 1,200 yards, 1,182 yards rushing, averaging almost 6 yards a pop, 15 rushing touchdowns, 30, almost doubled, right? He doubled his receptions with 38 receptions, 242 yards receiving, just a do-it-all back. So I don't even mind them listing him as an all-purpose, being on the second team, because, again, he can do it all. And I love his game. I love what he brings to the table. And I think he can be, as we've seen, that uptick, that jump in production as a receiver. I think that I'm looking forward to seeing if that continues. I want to see 40 catches, 400 yards, add some touchdowns in there, and really showcase that full repertoire, that full skill set as a pass catcher out in space, because he has to build good size. He runs hard, runs tough, but he's got the footwork to make guys miss in open field. And then you also love, like I said, the ability to make and generate big plays in the passing game or in space in general. So I feel like this is apropos. This is a good spot for Will Shipley, all-purpose back, second team. Show that man his love, because he's not only one of the best backs, if not the best back in the ACC, he's one of the best backs in the entire nation of college football. Now, another second teamer. Guys, I'm a spoiler alert. We got 3. We got 3 of them. 3 of the 5 were second teamers. Tyler Davis. And this is interesting, guys, because with Tyler Davis, I'm going to tell you now, I was expecting him to actually enter the NFL draft this past season. The interior defensive lineman, I thought he was going to go ahead and come out. I think if I remember correctly, he had he accepted his invite to Mobile to the Senior Bowl with Jim Nagy. Shout out to Jim Nagy, by the way. One of the greatest out here doing this thing. But with Tyler Davis, I was excited to see him, especially in those one-on-ones, because yes, you get to watch film and see what the guy does on tape. But going to the Senior Bowl where they put him in those more advantageous opportunities, okay, one-on-ones and whether it's one-on-ones and run block situations or getting to the passer, I wanted to see him out there, right? And this is one of the better pass rushing defensive tackles and defensive linemen in college football, not just the ACC guys. 6'2", 300 pounds. He had 7 sacks, 7 QB hits. He also had 22 hurries and pressures last year as well. So, him returning, I don't mind it. And the thing about it is that what bodes well for him is just an uptick from 2021 to 2022. 2021, only 3 sacks, only 1 QB hit, and he had 18 hurries and pressures, right? To jump to 22 hurries and pressures, 7 hits, 7 sacks. So if the arrow keeps pointing up, then the needle keeps going up, right? The elevator keeps going up. You could see a potential 10 sack season from him, right? You could see 30 hurries and pressures, double digits in the QB hit range, especially in the ACC, was going to be some pretty good quarterback play. So I feel like this is a good spot for him as well, for Tyler Davis being that second teamer. I think it's really, really good spot for him, because this is a young man that a lot of people don't know. But I'm gonna tell you now, he's going, if you put on the tape, watch what he did last year, and then of course 2023, baby, watch him this season. He's gonna go ahead and shine and put a lot of stuff on tape so people can really get to know who he is on that football field, because this is an underrated guy, a guy that's like Steph Curry says, sleep. Right? They're sleeping on Tyler Davis. He can ball, and I love the fact that Athlon Sports gave him his flowers as a second teamer. Now, this guy, the next guy, the third and final second teamer, I felt like he could have been the first. And that's Barrett Carter, the other linebacker, right? Jeremiah Trotter's teammate and running mate, man. I when I look at it, guys, I look at his situation, and I'm just like, man, this kid 6'1", 225. Again, he may not be 6'3", 245 pounds, athletic, kind of do it all type of guy, man. 5 sacks, 5 sacks, pressures, hurries, QB hits, all of it, right? Like, he forces fumbles, and then you just see him be able to, again, similar to Jeremiah Trotter, you can drop these guys off in the coverage and feel good about it. You can do those things. So for him to make second team, I'm not mad at it. I just feel like he could have made first, because him and Jeremiah Trotter, I'm going to say this, they may be the best linebacking duo in all of college football. These guys are absolute studs. That can move all over the field. They can cover ground, has range, athletic. They play well together. They communicate well together. They pair and mesh so well together. And it's just a lot of fun to watch on tape. And now when you think about it, for both of them, no longer is Trenton Simpson there. This is their second, their linebacker room, rather. This is their room, and this is their opportunity to truly show that we are the top dogs here, and they're going to lead the charge. And I absolutely believe that they can. So, in terms of second teamer, do I agree with Barrett Carter being a second teamer? I agree. I just agree with the caveat. I believe that he could have been higher. I do believe that there's a case for him as as a first teamer. I truly do believe that he could be a first team type of guy, because he's just that darn talented, guys. You know what I mean? Over 70, I think over 60, almost 70 total tackles. And they're like, come on, man. This young man can do it all. He can cover, stuff the run, blitz. He can do everything, man. So he just might not check all the, requisite boxes that some people use, especially in terms of getting prepared for the NFL draft. But nonetheless, we got one more. We gone through 4 players on this list. Now we got to find out what the 5th one lands, right? We got to know who he is, where he lands, and why I don't agree with where he is. We'll discuss all of that next. All right, guys. Number 4, Andrew Makuba, safety for Clemson, is the 5th guy, and he should be an All-American, preseason All-American, because this young man is an absolute baller. And then what I love about it, especially, again, guys, I'm a scout and draft analyst, so I look, at things from both lenses of what he does in college football, and then also what does it mean for his overall just his overall projection to the league as well. And that's why I can't wait for this season for him to see what he's going to be able to put out on tape and really showcase. But he's a to me he's a jack of all trades type of guy. And yes, he can play from depth. Yes, he can play, at 6 foot 185. He can play on the top of the roof, what we call, being either a single high or two deep, type of safety. But with what over 50 tackles, I believe. This is a young man that can come down and play into the nickel, right? And he's, like I said, jack of all trades, because you will see him, and I have it in front of me. I'm gonna read it out to you in terms of his alignment and snap counts, right? As a box defender, 82 snaps. Free safety, 232 snaps, right? Slot nickel corner, 243 snaps, as well as outside corner, 16 snaps. So when you think about where the safety position has gone and where it has evolved, he fits that. Andrew fits that entirely. You want a safety that can kind of man up on some tight ends, that can cover slot receivers, right? That motion across the formation, and he can walk down into the nickel and feel comfortable getting into press alignment and be able to mirror and match guys and stay in their hip pocket and really be sticky in coverage. But also he can lay the boom. He can come down off his perch up top and drive down on underneath routes and lay the wood and lumber to an unsuspecting pass catcher or running back or ball carrier. So he doesn't mind mixing it up and getting down and dirty and getting into the mix. He doesn't mind that. And I love that from a safety. He fits that hybrid mold that the NFL is looking for as well. So the main thing for him is going to be measurements, like it is for a lot of these guys that I talked about. Is he really 6 foot? Or is he 5'11", right? Is he 185 pounds, 190 pounds, or is he 180? Like, that's going to be, in terms of where teams want to play him, because even with him being physical, right, you have to think about it, okay, from the aspect of, man, will it be able to hold up if he does play that physical brand of football? But I feel like he's instinctual, plays with good instincts in terms of his football IQ. And again, I really feel like there's so much more upside for him as a man-to-man defender, as a nickel hybrid court. What's so crazy is we saw last year in the NFL, this NFL draft, I'm sorry, for 2023, just a month or so ago, we saw Alabama's Brian Branch go in the second round. And why? Because he can do it all. He can be a box defender. He can be a too-high safety. He can be a nickel defender. You can pull a linebacker off and turn him into a big dime big nickel backer, right? When you get more speed and you play some multiple DB set for 5 to 6 DBs on the field, so forth and so on. So do I believe that he is he made the fourth team? He's on the fourth team? No. I believe he should have been second, at worst third, because this is a impact player and a guy that can change some games with his play style. So no, I don't agree with the fact that Andrew Mukuba was Athlon Sports fourth team safety. Don't get me wrong. There's some good safeties in college football, especially when you look at the SEC, so forth and so on. There's some good safeties that can do a lot of different things, but this young man does a lot of things, Swiss Army knife, jack of all trades. And it's just hard for me to turn and not and say, oh yeah, what, fourth team, at least you made it to preseason All-American, right? Like, if this was the final list, at least you'd be like, at least he's an All-American. You could say that, but then still not be happy with the fact that this talented defender is on the fourth team. What? I don't get it. I think he's higher than that. I think it's his second team, third team at worst, guys. But as always, man, listen, I just went through the 5 Clemson Tigers that made Athlon Sports preseason All-American teams. Shout out to Athlon Sports for voting and making these teams in this list. Which gave me something to really sink my teeth into and talk about whether I agree or disagree, and allow me to talk about and highlight these players and what they're good at from both a college football standpoint and an NFL draft, because I'm going to bring all of that to you guys every single time I can, because I'm an NFL draft analyst. I told you multiple times. But nonetheless, guys, as always, I appreciate you guys continue to tap in with me. And you know what I always say, I need you guys to embrace that you're family. We're Clemson together. But also, you're my everydayers. Tap in. Thank y'all for making Locked On Clemson podcast your favorite podcast and your first listen every single day. Because, guys, we couldn't do this without you. Hit the Locked On Podcast Network. We couldn't do it without you. Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it's available. Guys, tap back in with me tomorrow. I'm going to get into more stuff. You know what I mean? Looking at some of maybe the best Clemson draft picks over the last 10 years, right? We're going to tap into all of that, guys. But as always, in terms of Twitter, you can find me, Damian Parson, at DP_NFL. Come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.